Your child is not the angel that you think they are. Hello, parents. Back to school season is upon us once again. I know we've been enjoying the summer, taking vacations, relaxing, not worrying about schedules. And so now it's time to kick it back into gear. So with that being said, I'm going to give you 5 things your child's teacher wants you to know. Let's get into it. The first thing I feel like a lot of teachers want you to know is that they need you to be proactive with their class needs. And when I say that, I mean, if there is a school supplies list and you have the means, the financial ability to go above and beyond on that school supplies list, that'll be great. Yes, I know it's expensive already, and I understand that you have to buy the clothes, you have to buy the supplies, but a lot of times teachers come out of their own pockets to buy things for your children. You know, they're doing things that are going to benefit your kids. And so working with their own salaries, if you can just help, even if it's an additional $5, $10, that can go a long way if every parent thought that way. So be proactive when it comes to helping the teacher and asking, hey, is there anything that was on the list that may be helpful? That's one thing I think could go a long way with your child's teacher. Okay, tip number 2 is show up for your child. And I know every parent says, of course I'm going to show up for my child. But no, seriously, like if you can join PTA, if you can go on school field trips, if you have the job flexibility, or stuff like even parent-teacher meetings, parent-teacher conferences, you know, school events, show up for your child. Like the school needs to know that it has parental support. And I think that your teacher often feels like, you know, these parents don't care. You know, some parents do, but a lot of times it feels kind of like they're just trying to do everything on their own. So that's tip number 2. Okay, moving along into number 3. The third thing that teachers wish you would know is that your child is not the angel that you think they are. The best thing you can do is just be honest with yourself about who your child is with them and work on those things at home, okay? So I have 3 boys. All 3 of them have different personalities. I know my oldest is a rule follower. I know my second is a rebel, and my third is to be determined. But with that being said, like you have to address things from the truth. So if your teacher's like, oh, you know, such and such does this at school, and, you know, or they're shy or they're outgoing, and you know your child, yes, you do. But sometimes you have to be honest, like, yeah, I know they're capable of that. And sometimes it's just external issues that are causing those, you know, negative behaviors or positive behaviors. But either way, everyone should be like, yes, I'm sorry, such and such is acting this way, and we're going to work on it at home. You need to be an ally with your teachers, not, you know, someone that's going to buck heads with them every time they try to bring an issue up that's supposed to help your child. Now, granted, there are some teachers that, you know, may cause unnecessary issues, but more often than not, your teacher is just trying to address an issue, and they want to get to the bottom of it so that way your child can learn and progress the way they need to. All right, in conjunction with tip number 3 is number 4, which is check for holes in your child's learning. More likely than not, unless you go to some kind of fancy private school or you homeschool, and in that case, you would be the teacher in the first place, check for holes in your child's learning. So basically, your teacher has 20 students, 15 students, maybe even 30 students. They can't see everything, you know. They teach to the entire class. They're trying to keep conduct, you know. They have 50 million things going on, and they grade them and they say, oh, you know, they need to work on this. But there's a lot of pieces that may be missing that you as the parent have to stay on top of. You know, yes, your teacher is supposed to teach, but you are their parent, and it is ultimately your job to make sure that your child is academically successful. So with that being said, just make sure that you're working with the teacher to ask, hey, do you think that there's something that we can work on together? Is there any extra homework or, I don't know, games that they can play for learning that would help further your cause? So just keep that in mind. Teachers have a lot going on, and, you as a parent helping could go a long way. If every parent puts in, the time at home, even if it's just 5 minutes a night of reading or something like that, that can go a long way. All right. And tip number 5 is don't forget to acknowledge their effort. Everyone's like, oh, teachers have it easy. They work from 8 o'clock until 3 o'clock, and then they get summers off. Yeah, that's the on-the-job time that you see, but that's not counting the the early morning arrival times they have to do to prepare for class. That doesn't count the after hours time they do to prepare for the next day or the week and lesson plan, and then they take homework home to grade, and they have families too. So acknowledge, your teacher's effort. They are doing a lot, and in my opinion, in most counties across the United States, they are underpaid. So, take the time to, even if it's just like, hey, thank you for what you're doing, that can go a long way. And if you can, during, I guess, holiday seasons and just whenever you feel the desire, do something nice for them. I don't know what that looks like for you, but, during holiday season and whatnot, I'll get them a gift card or something. If they send like a list of, hey, your teacher likes these things, make sure you participate in that. Participate in Teacher Appreciation Week, and also like, get some kind of treat for the class, or a treat specifically, for the teacher. Just send it, by your child. And so, those little things go a long way to help teachers with the stress and the workload of dealing with your kid. Because look, you deal with your kid on a daily basis. You know what they're going through. And so just show gratitude. So, all right, parents. So that wraps up the video. I hope you are ready for the school year, and I hope that you make a great impression on your teacher. I hope your child succeeds and thrives this year. And I'll be getting into more information on parent tips and motherhood in future videos. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching this video.